One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Wow, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and upgrade this bitch. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a beautiful show lined up for you guys, as always. We got a lot to discuss this morning. We got California election chaos. Yes, I actually expected this from the lineup that we've got going on over there. There's a lot of chaos. There's a probe that's going on. There's some fraud accusations, so we're going to be getting into that. As well as Rubio testifies, and White House press briefing is happening today. I'm not very sure if we're going to be able to cover the White House press briefing, because that usually does happen after the show is done, right? So we'll probably end up talking about it a little bit tomorrow. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and give you guys a chronological breakdown of what we're looking at this morning. First, we're going to be talking about U.S.-Iran peace talks stall as Israel strikes Lebanon. We're, of course, going to be talking a lot about the whole Israel-Hezbollah conflict. We're going to get into that. And then as well as DOJ is dropping plans for anti-weaponization fund. That's that $1.776 billion fund that Trump was proposing. And sounds like it's been shot down. So we're going to be discussing that here in a few. Then we have Iran war latest weekend of new attacks leaves peace deal in limbo, which we discussed yesterday. So we're not going to get too much into detail of that report. We definitely do our due diligence here and covering all these things. That looks like more of like a highlight. Nonetheless, we're going to get into the California primary over there. Candidates continue to push to succeed Newsom. And I hope that, definitely obviously happens. 2 dead after domestic violence incident, SWAT standoff in Texas. Now, this is saying we are learning more from law enforcement officials that they say a man who claimed to have accidentally shot his girlfriend ended up turning the gun on himself after a 5-hour SWAT standoff at a Katy area apartment. That's what they're calling it, Katy, Katy. According to the partners over there, their Fox correspondents, the man is 23 and the woman was 20. Both died at the scene. Man, dude. Way too freaking young. 23 and 20, dude. And all probably based off of emotion. Anyways, Iowa shooting spree. There was an Iowa shooting spree that happened. 6 people were killed in domestic dispute, as well as suspect also is dead. Authorities in Muscatine, Iowa, said 6 people were found dead at multiple locations on Monday after shooting spree carried out by a male suspect who was also found dead. The shootings likely stem from a domestic-related dispute, according to the police department. All victims are believed to have or been family members of the deceased suspect. Wow. So he just took out his entire family. We're going to be covering, obviously, that. Now, there's an update on this appeals court situation regarding the transgender troops, the banning of them. It says this is literally how it says. Update. Appeals court says Hegseth illegally banned active transgender troops. We are learning more this week after the court ruled that, appellate court ruled that the Trump administration violated the constitutional rights of transgender members of the U.S. military by barring them from serving. Writing for the majority, Judge Robert Wilkins, that's the name of the judge, who was nominated by the court by President Barack Obama, claimed the policy, quote, appears to be driven by the bare desire to harm a politically unpopular group, persons who identify as transgender. Yeah, I don't think that correlates at all. I think that we want mentally sound people in our military. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on into more of that California primary election runoff here that's going on. LA officials investigate interference incidents. So this is the probe that we're going to be talking about, and it just came out an hour ago. So we're going to get into all of this in a minute. And it's a big news morning. We've got a lot going on. Trump reveals new national intelligence director after Gabbard exit. So it says President Donald Trump appointed federal housing finance chief Bill Pult, P-U-L-T-E, Bill Pult, to lead the intelligence office after Tulsi Gabbard's exit. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Pult, will serve as acting director of national intelligence. Wow, interesting. And then Marco Rubio is, he's facing off with lawmakers over Trump's budget request. So he's over there testifying right now. We do have that for you guys. And we're not going to play the whole thing because those hearings take forever. So we'll just get the beginning monologue. And then Trump announces ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. That happened yesterday. There was a heated exchange, actually, between Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, is what they claim. They claim that happened. I don't know how it actually happened, but that's the claim. And quote, he says on this next report, being Trump, "You're fucking crazy." That's what he said to Bibi Netanyahu, supposedly. Trump reportedly fumes at Netanyahu during call. NATO Ambassador Matthew Whitaker joined, I guess, Fox and Friends to discuss why he believes leverage is on America's side. His high-stakes phone call with Netanyahu on Lebanon and more. So he's going to be talking about Trump's discussions with Lebanon, I guess, or with Netanyahu. All right, so that's what we're looking at this morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a lot going on, as you guys can see. Let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the madness. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it, and it's free to do so. It's what we do Monday through Friday, by the way, and of course, we have members only on Saturday morning. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one, and we have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go in the video description down below, where the invite link is for you guys, and that's where we continue the conversation, because we're only on here for about an hour, maybe at max an hour and a half. So that's where we continue all of that. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. You guys can donate to those at any time, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, I'll read out loud your message just like a super chat. So we've got it always scanning. So that's what we're doing right now. All right. Good morning to all you legends, man. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully you're all enjoying the morning so far. I definitely know that we are. All right. We got 5150 Boomer in the chat. Good morning to you. We got PJ as well as Cameron. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well as TNT. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Let's see here. We got Cameron as well saying, I already like the screen mic. I appreciate that. Hopefully, hopefully it works well for everybody, right? Thank you for that, by the way, Roger. Good morning to you as well. All right. Let's see here. We're scrolling down as fast as humanly possible, I promise. We got Texas Gidget as well. Good morning to you, as well as Hardwire 1%er. Yes, sir. Good morning to you, as well as Beezer and Mr. Al Patterson. Yes, sir. Good morning to you guys. Let's see. Hardwire as well as Shane. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. We've got Steve Easy as well. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We got Christopher Collins, another Alabama's finest. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's go and get into the madness. We're going to start off this morning with U.S.-Iran peace talks stall as Israel strikes Lebanon. Now, of course, we have all the updates regarding all of this shit as well. So this is just a chronological timeline to get us to current time today, right? So this is a very quick report. We'll just go ahead and get it.
All right, that was Texas Governor Greg Abbott speaking at that groundbreaking ceremony. We missed it earlier, so I wanted to make sure to bring it to you for the first time here on Live Now from Fox. And there on the right-hand side of your screen, you are taking a live look over Beirut in Lebanon as we get to the latest on the conflict here between the U.S. and Iran. Take a look at this post right here coming in from Iran's foreign minister. Now, Iran says that it is stopping its talks with U.S. negotiators because of Israel's strikes on the Hezbollah terror group in Lebanon. Iranian state media reporting that today as Iran's foreign minister put this on social media, saying, for immediate attention, the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Its violation on one front is a violation of the ceasefire on all fronts. The U.S.
Yes, real quick, we got Chasing Ghost as well as Prez. Good morning to you guys. Always appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday.
Israel are responsible for the consequences of any violation. Now, at this point, President Trump and the Pentagon have not commented on the reports coming in just yet, but that right there on your screen was a post from the foreign minister. Trey Yingst, our friend over at Fox News, also saying that Iran's IRGC is threatening to target northern Israel if strikes are conducted against Hezbollah in Beirut. So a threat there coming in from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard. We're following all of those developments here and will continue to do so on Live Now from Fox. Right now, I do want to take a live look over Beirut as Israel has maintained that it will not stop its attacks on the Hezbollah terror group and that U.S. officials have said Lebanon was never part of the deal.
Yeah, that they made that claim, of course, and they're going to try to counter that. But then, of course, we just saw an announcement of Israel and Lebanon, a ceasefire that just happened last night, early this morning. So, yeah, about that.
Between the U.S. and Iran. This comes as the U.S. says it bombed radar and drone sites over in Iran in retaliation for Iran shooting down an American drone over the weekend. Take a look at this map right here on your screen. It kind of shows where the locations are, as U.S. Central Command says the American military carried out the strikes in Iran Saturday and Sunday around a couple locations, including Qeshm Island. After that, Iran says it launched a strike of its own on an American base in Kuwait, and it appears the attack was intercepted, with Kuwait saying that its air defenses fired back at the incoming drone and missile fire. You may know Kuwait is home to U.S. Army Central, the Middle East Forward Command for the U.S. Army. Iranian state TV sharing footage claiming that it showed its ballistic missile launch, including a close-up of a sticker of President Trump and the message, quote, until the last American soldier leaves the region. Now, we also saw a post from President Trump a bit earlier on Truth Social before a lot of the developments here came out. And I want to show it to you in case you missed it earlier. It's right there on your screen. It says, quote, Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us. But don't the Democrats and various seemingly patriotic Republicans understand that it's much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political hacks keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before, over and over again, that I should
the only chirp that I know is she
faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war or whatever. Just sit back and relax. It will all work out well in the end. It always does. Again, now Iranian state TV reported that Iran has essentially cut off its negotiations there with the U.S. amid that ongoing conflict. We'll make sure to keep you updated here as we get additional information on all of that, including reaction from President Trump and the Pentagon. Right now, we are going to sneak away for a quick break
fix
here
the camera.
At 112 on the East Coast.
It's kind of lagging. That's all right. We're still getting used to this setup. I think it's because the amount of stories I've lined up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more stories. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other tabs running at the same time. So that's probably why. All right, let me go ahead and close a few things here so that it can work better. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this next story as well. DOJ dropping plans for anti-weaponization fund. This is that $1.776 billion fund that Trump was trying to, bring into play here. But unfortunately, it looks like the DOJ is saying that we're not going to be doing that.
That is,
let's figure out why.
The Department of Justice has said that it is going to comply with a court order that essentially does not allow for the anti-weaponization fund to go into effect. So let's go ahead and read off this tweet from the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice disagrees strongly with the decision on the anti-weaponization fund put forth by the United States District Court judge in the Eastern District of Virginia, wherein the court stated that under no circumstances may the Department of Justice proceed with the anti-weaponization fund recently established in order to make up for the tremendous abuse, harm, and hate unfairly shown to so many people. This fund was open to anybody who is weaponized, who is so weaponized, targeted, or persecuted, whether they were Democrat, Republican, conservative, independent, or otherwise. The department will.
One of the big things there, Steve Easy, is I don't have the proper lights to really do this, where I'm not super dark like that, but this is the best I could possibly get without those lights. So those lights I showed you in the Discord, by the way, that's going to be like $320 out of pocket for us to be able to run that completely correct. So yes, by the way, if you guys want to help out on that aspect, it's going to be $320 for me to get these lights. And of course, you know, it's just, I don't have $320 just laying around doing nothing, right? So maybe we'll raise it together, but appreciate that.
Abide by the court's ruling. And that is the very important statement there, saying the department will abide by the court's ruling, which essentially is them saying that as of right now, the anti-weaponization fund is no more. Now, could it get brought back up? Could there be some appeal? We certainly could see that. But this came after Axios reported that President Trump and the administration were considered dropping the $1.776 billion anti-weaponization fund. And now it appears the Department of Justice is putting out a statement saying that they are going to abide by the court ruling that essentially forbade them from being able to implement this. And can we get the comments from Schumer and Jeffries put up real quick? Because it appears that
they both had something to say, of course.
Democrats in Congress are not done here. We had Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, as well as House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, putting out statements saying that they're happy with this decision from the DOJ, but they're going to pursue legislation that would cancel out and end the anti-weaponization fund for good, essentially making it illegal for the Trump administration to pursue it down the road. Hakeem Jeffries saying this: the corrupt Trump $1.8 billion slush fund for violent insurrectionists is on life support. Congress needs to pull the plug. And we also have from Chuck Schumer a little bit of a longer statement saying this.
Real quick, and what Steve Easy says here is very true, by the way. This is why you can't govern by executive order, at least not effectively and efficiently, right? You're going to run into a lot of roadblocks doing that. But I think you're right. I think a lot of the times obviously good legislation goes through Congress, right? But I don't think any good, quote unquote, good legislation goes through Congress anymore. I think everything is a pork-filled lobbyist and special interest thing, you know, and it's just disguised as passing a law.
If Trump and Republicans are truly abandoning this corrupt scheme, they should have zero problem banning it in law. This week, Senate Democrats will push legislation to ban this slush fund and ensure no president can ever do this again. Trump's world is nowhere near enough.
All right. So that is the DOJ's response on that whole slush fund that Trump wanted to do, that $1.776 billion slush fund. All right. Iran war latest. We've got obviously a lot of updates on that whole thing. We've given you guys the majority of those updates yesterday. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a highlight reel of the weekend. I may not want to watch maybe any of it, to be honest, but we're going to scroll through it a little bit, see if we get any information real quick out of it. Maybe a governmental official says something, whatever the case is. Let's go ahead and bring that up real quick, and then we'll find it out together.
All right. It is a new hour, continuing to bring you some of the days.
So there's an actual report here, so I would like to hear what it looks like. This guy's over here at Tel Aviv. That's what it looks like.
Ceasefire remains in limbo, and the peace negotiations really remain in limbo. You have the Iranians saying that they're going to cut off communications with the United States if there isn't a
What's up, Mr. Jack Talcott? Blessings to you, kind sir.
ceasefire in southern Lebanon. But President Trump on the other hand, he says that these peace negotiations, they continue at what he calls a rapid pace. Now, this all gets a little bit complicated because there are multiple players here. You have, of course, Iran, the United States, but then you also have the state of Israel, you have the state of Lebanon, and then you also have the group Hezbollah, which is backed by the Iranians. Now, Hezbollah has been firing rockets into northern Israel, and because of that, the Israelis moved into southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been conducting their operations. Now, over the weekend, they pushed the farthest into southern Lebanon than they have in 26 years. They took this historic castle on this strategic ridgeline named Beaufort Ridge. That's this castle essentially that dates back to the Crusades. So they pushed up there, and then they were threatening to strike Beirut, a suburb of Beirut. But as this has all been going on today, the Iranians, they said that they were going to cut off communications with the Iranian-U.S. peace process if there wasn't a ceasefire. Now, because of this, President Trump, he held a call with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, and the outcome of this call, it's a little bit uncertain because we've had two different messaging coming out of this call. On one hand, President Trump has said that there's going to be a ceasefire where Hezbollah is going to stop firing rockets into northern Israel, and that the Israelis are now not going to be making attacks into Beirut. He said in this Truth Social post essentially that the Israelis are not going to be sending troops in. It's unclear if they're ever going to be sending troops in, but essentially he's saying that situation has been handled. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, he said that they are going to attack this suburb of Beirut if Hezbollah continues to attack.
Right, but they just agreed last night, super late last night, that there's going to be a ceasefire. And I have that report, by the way, for you guys that just came out minutes before we started this live stream, by the way.
Israeli positions, attack communities in northern Israel, and they will continue to conduct their operations in southern Lebanon as they've been doing. So it's unclear whether or not this is going to be enough to appease the Iranians, if this is going to be enough of a ceasefire for them to continue the negotiations with the United States. But, President Trump, again, he has said that these negotiations continue at a rapid pace. So, again,
which, I mean, they actually pretty much are, because Trump had to handle Bibi Netanyahu and get that situation under control, which supposedly from the reports, that's exactly what happened. All right, let's move on, though, because we have updated information on all that shit. All right, so let's get into the California primary. As you guys can see what the thumbnail was this morning. Let me go ahead and pop it up here. Obviously, the election probe. There's a probe going on over there for California. So we're going to get into that here in a quick second here. So, but before we do, they're talking about the candidates of, yesterday, and then early this morning, they were talking about, just 2 hours ago, that LA officials investigate interference incidents. So this is from last night, like 13 hours ago. And then this morning, we woke up to a probe. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into California first and what's happening over there, and then we'll get into the rest.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. The race to be California's next governor was chaotic, complicated, and crowded, to say the least, as voters will have an option of 61 candidates. At least that's what they'll see on the ballot come tomorrow for this primary in this crowded, close.
Yo, real quick, hold on. Hold the phone, man. We got Mr. Al Patterson gifting out 5 memberships, my man. Thank you very much for that. It goes a long way. And you're helping out not only me, but you're helping out 5 others in the Insane Wheels family, man. I very much appreciate that. Epic. Good times, Al. Thank you for that. It goes a long way.
Watched bipartisan, nonpartisan jungle primary. You can see from the Wall Street Journal, California Democrats, they head to a primary on Tuesday A ruckus race to help determine the successor. The two leading vote getters, regardless of party affiliation, will advance to the general election come November. And so far, some of the polls shaking out, including from the Public Policy Institute of California, saying Javier Becerra leads the field, followed by Republican Steve Hilton, Tom Steyer.
What's up, No? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. Definitely know that we are. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I know there's a lot of chaos that's going on in the world and in our nation, but you guys can hit the like button for what we do here. So thank you for that.
And Chad Bianco,
I gotta fix my camera. I'm still messing with it.
They're potentially
the whole time. By the way, when I disappear and all that shit, it's me resetting my camera behind the scenes, and then I'm also messing with the settings, trying to get the settings the best, because this is the very first time we're doing an operation like this with the green screen and all that shit. So
pulling up the
working out the kinks,
to find enough votes to make the November ballot. Let's continue on discussing this here on Live Now from Fox. Bring in Rob Stutzman, a GOP political consultant, former deputy chief of staff for communications to Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And obviously, it's a crowded field. Has anyone truly separated themselves on the eve of this primary?
Well, not so far as to remove the doubt in the outcome. Javier Becerra certainly is a favorite.
Well, I don't think majority of people here know who these actual candidates are, so I don't think that discussing, just having an analyst talk about it is what we need. That's not what we need. So let's go and skip ahead here.
Ideas out
See
there.
if there's any other reports here or posts. That's what I do want to see.
Are we surprised that neither has dropped out? Because just yesterday we saw on social media Steve Hilton potentially ahead of Bianco, saying a message to every Chad Bianco supporter saying, I respect for support for Chad, but there's now no possibility of two Republicans in the top.
What up, Liquored Up with Poncho? Good morning.
Two. In fact, there's a real risk of two Democrats at this point. That's a vote for Chad would bring about. This is not personal. It's about saving California.
Logical spark as well.
And then just a few short hours later, Chad Bianco, a similar sentiment, saying it's clear that Steve Hilton supporters should unite and support me, while they're at it. Becerra, Steyer, Porter, Mahan, Villaraigosa supporters should vote for me too. Are we surprised neither has bowed out, that Bianco hasn't gone by the wayside? Is that detrimental to Republicans?
Well, it could be, but in defense of Bianco, there was talk for quite a while before Swalwell was obliterated.
Oh man, Lick It Up with Poncho. I'm so sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah, I'll definitely, have some words with the man upstairs this evening. So sorry to hear that.
That you could have a top two Republican result of this election. Mathematically, that ship has sailed, I think, several weeks ago. But Bianco has been more or less.
All right, so he's going on about these candidates. Okay, I want to see like the numbers. Here we go. So there's the two Republicans and then the two Democrats over there. So you guys can see.
And a half.
Those are the top two on each side. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything else from this. We might be getting into this probe here in a minute. Yep, it looks like we're going to be moving on. We have to, because we don't need an analyst telling us about that shit. Real quick, we got Naomi coming in with the Good morning. Hopefully you're enjoying your topless Taco Tuesday. I definitely know that we are. So thank you very much for the 5 spot. Definitely goes a long way. Making it rain in the chat. Good morning. All right. 2 dead after domestic violent incident, SWAT standoff in Texas. Now, this is before we get into the California primaries. We got 2 stories, or 3 stories, actually, until we get into the probe of the election of California. So I just thought it was interesting that they were reporting on California primaries last night, and then there's a probe this morning. So I thought that we were going to get a little bit more information than we did, but we didn't. So it's all good. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next story. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1, bam.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Almost 9 o'clock out east. A live look in New York City here on this Monday evening. Also in the Windy City, another picturesque evening. So you can see about 8 o'clock local time as we're following all of the top Headlines developing stories, including one out of the Houston area. There was a SWAT standoff that we were monitoring, and they say 2 people found dead inside of an apartment. Let's take you out to this most recent update from law enforcement on the ground in Katy, Texas. They're providing an update here just a few minutes ago.
What's up, Kurt? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat, man. Gary as well.
I'm Major Earl Dean with the Harris County Sheriff Office, West Region Patrol Bureau. At approximately 1:52 this afternoon, deputies received a call in the 1000 block of Katy Gap Road in reference to a disturbance. A male was frantic on the phone and said he had accidentally shot his girlfriend. Upon arrival...
Now, mind you, yes, he said that he accidentally shot his girlfriend. I don't know that to be that, that to be truth, but we'll see. We'll see about that. But nonetheless, there was a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old. So I believe that he was 23 and she was 20. And then this guy, unfortunately, he says he accidentally killed her. I don't know that to be true. And then gets in a standoff with SWAT teams and stuff like that for 5 hours. And then he takes his own life. That's what ends up happening here.
Deputies,
this is what they're explaining.
Made contact with the male, and the male refused to obey their commands and threatened to kill himself. He then barricaded himself inside the apartment, where we then contacted additional resources. Our SWAT team came out and took over the scene. After several hours
What's
of
up, Bob?
crisis
Morning.
negotiation team talking with the male, trying to get him to surrender, the male refused all commands. At one point, we did deploy gas into the apartment complex. The male retreated onto the balcony where he suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This scene is still under investigation and still very active, and our Internal Affairs Division will be coming out to investigate this matter. This is very unfortunate. There was a 20-year-old female found inside the apartment complex. She is confirmed deceased. The black male suspect is also deceased. He's a 23-year-old black male. Any questions?
Have there been any calls to service at this location before?
We had a few calls for service last year that I'm aware of that we had at this location. Yes, ma'am.
Was it family violence?
I didn't see any family violence. I did see a disturbance but I have to look into what that actually entailed.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound like any super red flags or anything, so.
When did this end? Does 6:58 sound about right?
The question should be like, has he been arrested before? Have you seen any type of, this behavior in your guys' logs? Whatever.
About a half hour ago. I'm not sure of the time right now.
What's up, Jamin?
Was anybody else
Morning.
inside the home with them when this was all happening?
Right now, I'm not aware of any other individuals other than the deceased female and the black male suspect that were inside their apartment.
Way too young, Texas
Were you in
Gidget.
contact with the woman who was
Sucks.
shot at all during the course of this?
No, not at all, sir.
What do we know about her?
At this time, the only thing we know about her is that she's a 20-year-old white female victim.
Where was she found located in
Damn.
the apartment?
I'm not sure about the exact whereabouts, but she was found inside the apartment deceased and confirmed.
When was she confirmed deceased, or had the other person said that she was dead inside the apartment at some point?
Once the scene was secured, we had EMS personnel observe her and evaluate her, and she was confirmed deceased at that time.
Has she been deceased for a while now, or is it unclear?
It's unclear, but we, through our investigation and while we were out here, our drones were able to capture pictures of her.
What's up, Agrillipus? Good morning to you, by the way. And yes, I see you guys talking in the chat regarding that. So let me explain. A lot of what is being, anytime the YouTube algorithm, the way it works, is usually topic driven. Usually. So it depends on what we're talking about, how much attention that it's going to be given, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So you have to take the good with the bad. And either way, it doesn't matter to me. I'm here whether there's 0 people, I have a big fat donut, or I've got 3,000 viewers, as you guys know. So
where it did show that she didn't have any signs of life.
Were her injuries consistent with an accidental shooting?
We don't know that at this time, sir. That's still under investigation.
Shot just once?
That's what it appears. I can't confirm that at this time.
Did anybody hear any yelling coming from the apartment or any type of commotion happening before this all happened? Or?
Additional citizens did call us after the male suspect called us frantically and said they did hear yelling and screaming at the apartment complex. I'm not sure if that was just him after, but that's what we received.
Was that particular building extricated for people to throw the gas inside the apartment?
We did secure the scene as best we could, so we didn't want to affect the public, sir.
All right, so that's really the most amount of information we're going to get out of that. So we're going to follow all these stories. Anything that we present, we do our damnness to go ahead and, of course, keep up on the facts of what's going on. So we're not going to just show shit just for content. That's not what we do here. You guys know that. We skip through a lot of bullshit to save everybody time, including myself. I mean, I don't want to waste my time, let alone anybody else's time. So anyways, Iowa shooting spree. We got 6 people were killed in a domestic dispute. Suspect also dead. And it sounds like this was a family situation, by the way. Sounds like that they were all related somehow. And so he basically killed everybody and then killed himself. So let's go and get into this story here, and we'll get into it. I think this happened. Yes, it did happen yesterday.
I can hear too live now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. We're following
this report happened yesterday.
a breaking story out of.
So well, he's saying it's breaking. So I didn't know if it happened Sunday, Monday. But it did break. It broke and happened yesterday.
Iowa, as a string of shootings leaves 6 individuals dead, and also the suspect, the gunman, also dead in this instant, as you can see from the city of Muscatine, Iowa, saying MPD is investigating multiple homicides at several locations. 4 victims found on Park Avenue, 2 more on Mill Street and Grand Avenue. The suspect has been located.
Tootie Bug, good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday. I definitely know the hell we are. Good morning.
Deceased. So providing an update from Muscatine here on Live Now from Fox. A live look there on the ground at this very
Carney.
tragic and developing stories, saying when officers responded to the address, they found 4 victims who had already been fatally shot. The suspect has also been identified as 52-year-old Ryan Willis McFarland.
Damn, he was 52. I wasn't expecting that age, to be honest. I was expecting some like 20, 30-year-old emotional male. That's what I expected. Anytime I hear a lot of these shootings that happen with family and stuff, I always think it's some emotional 20 or 30-year-old in that range, 20 to 30, just emotional. But it sounds like the old man was like, fuck everybody.
Out to Muscatine authorities providing an update on this incident.
Today, I simply do not have the words. This act of evil and
That's
what
right,
it has
Tootie.
done to our community. First and foremost, there is not an active threat to our community. Today, Monday, June 1st, 2026, at approximately 12:12 p.m., Muscom received a report of a shooting at 210 Park Avenue in Muscatine. Officers and emergency medical personnel were dispatched immediately. Upon arrival, officers located 4 victims inside the residence. All 4 victims had suffered gunshot wounds and were pronounced deceased at scene. The adult male suspect had left the residence prior to law enforcement's arrival, but was quickly identified as Ryan Willis McFarland, 52 years, Muscatine, Iowa. Officers located McFarland on the Riverfront Trail near the pedestrian bridge. While talking to Ryan Willis McFarland, he took his own life. Officers and
While
EMS personnel
talking to him.
rendered aid.
Did you say while talking to him? Probably trying to negotiate for him to put down the gun, or whatever.
Near the pedestrian bridge. While talking to Ryan Willis McFarland, he took his own life.
Wow.
Officers and EMS personnel rendered aid. However, he was pronounced deceased at the scene. During the initial stages of the investigation, information was developed indicating that there may be additional victims. Officers subsequently located an adult male deceased from an apparent gunshot wound inside his residence at 1509 Mill Street in Muscatine, Iowa. Officers then responded to a business located at 808 Grandview Avenue, where they discovered another male deceased from an apparent gunshot wound.
Damn.
The preliminary investigation indicates the shooting stemmed from a domestic dispute. At this time, all
So 7 total dead because it's 6 found dead after series of shootings in Iowa. Suspect also dead. So are they talking about he took out 6 and then suspect also dead, which would be 7? I don't know.
victims are believed to be family members
We're gonna
of the
find out.
deceased. The Muscatine Police Department is being assisted by the Muscatine Fire Department.
Yes, by the way, you guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening, but you guys can hit that like button for me and what we do here on Insane Wheels. So thank you guys for that. Very much appreciate it.
Muscatine County Sheriff's Department, the Iowa State Patrol, and the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigations. The investigation remains active and ongoing. Detectives continue to process crime scenes and conduct witness interviews. We are asking anyone with information related to this incident is encouraged to contact Lieutenant David O'Connor at the Muscatine Police Department. Please contact him at the Major Crimes Unit at 563-263-9922, extension 608. Please understand that during these trying times, our community is mourning the family and the friends of the McFarland family, the Whitlow family, and the Harris families. Thank you, and I will take a few questions at this time.
Brutal.
Mr. McFarland have a criminal record prior to today?
He did.
Oh, shit. Well, you going to expand on that and say what kind of criminal background he had? No? You just said he did. That's it. Long pause.
Are you able to share?
Yeah, I was about to say, can you expand on what that is, though?
Any details of that criminal record?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Why? Why can't you? There's some things we all understand why you shouldn't, but and there's got to be some sort of cope reason why they say that, oh, we can't give that out right now. Why? What's up, Chrono? Good morning. Hopefully you're
This
enjoying
concludes
the
this
morning.
press release. There will be more coming. Thank you.
All right, you're listening in to Anthony.
Oh, no, that's actually Iowa there, Chrono, not California or Clownfornia. Clownifornia. I like that. Let's see if there's any other updates on this. There is actually a couple of updates. Let's go ahead and fast forward and see what it is here.
Including from the Congresswoman Marionette Miller Meek, saying, Kurt and I are heartbroken by the tragic loss of life in Muscatine today and ask that you join us in prayer for the victims and their families. I have been in contact with Mayor Bark and I have offered the full support of my office as the community responds to this unthinkable tragedy. From Representative Randy Feenstra, also from Iowa, and Lynette and I praying for the families and loved ones of those senselessly killed in Muscatine tonight. We grieve this.
Hey, Nickis, great to see you in the chat, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. Definitely know that we are.
Tragic loss of life and stand with the people of Muscatine. Thank you to the law enforcement officers and first responders, as this area very close also to Iowa. And this one from Congressman Eric Sorensen.
All the representatives are coming out to talk about it.
Saying, I'm just sickened to learn of the tragedy today in Muscatine, Iowa. I reach out to the Congresswoman Miller Meeks and offer my condolences and support. We must find ways to settle our differences without the use of guns. I share my sorrow with everyone involved. Muscatine strong. So following the story here on Live Now from Fox, again, 6 people killed, including also the suspect is also.
Okay, so it says including. He said including.
So dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Okay, so 6 total. That's really what I wanted to clarify. I know that's a weird thing for me to like hyperfixate on, but facts matters. You know what I mean? Shit. Real quick, you know what we haven't done yet? We got to do the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Yes, it's very true. We did a lot of upgrades recently and it costs a lot to do it, and we got still more to do. So
Denied.
But hey, we still love you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next thing here. There's an update. Appeals court says Hegseth illegally banned active transgender troops. Oh boy, here we go. Let's go ahead and hear what's going to happen here.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. Following a developing story as a panel of federal judges have reviewed a Pentagon policy saying it's illegal for transgender troops from the military service, deeming that illegal here today. Another major legal setback for the Trump administration, as I want to put up this here from Bill Maluzhin on social media, saying in a 2-1 ruling, a federal court of appeals finds the Trump administration policy to ban transgender individuals from serving in the U.S. military.
Real quick, we got Tiffany Lance as well as Trigger Warning. Good morning to you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
is unconstitutional. From Judge Robert Wilkins, who wrote the majority opinion, the Hegseth policy is both arbitrary and based upon animus, and for those reasons, the policy violates the plaintiff appellee's constitutional rights to equal protection under the law. And a response to this.
Damn it, Steve, I told you that in confidence. You know what I mean? Why'd you have to let everybody know that?
Tweet to this ruling made by the Department of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth here on social media, saying, "See you at the Supreme Court." So a major development today in a decision that is a 2-1, a 3-judge panel from the U.S. Court of Appeals.
Well, that was Hegseth, his response. We'll see you at the Supreme Court then.
District of Columbia Circuit held that the Trump administration's policy was designed to exclude people from the military based on their gender identity. The ban.
It's not necessarily based on gender identity. It's based off of competence. It depends on mental stability. I'm sorry, but it is a mental. You have mentally. If you are so uncomfortable that you're going to change your entire existence into a different sex, yes, there is mental problems there. I don't understand why that's so difficult for people to understand, but
remains
just
in effect, and the U.S. Supreme Court allowed the Pentagon to start enforcing it last year. As litigation continues to play out, the panel's ruling would keep the military from kicking out current service members named in the lawsuit, but wouldn't allow new transgender recruits to join. The judges put their decision on hold, though, to let the administration seek further review. This appeals court panel's decision by a 2-1 margin holds and upholds a March 2025 ruling by the U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes in Washington, where Reyes concluded that Washington and President Trump's executive order to exclude transgender troops from the military service likely violates their constitutional rights. Of course, in this ruling, the Judge Robert Wilkins.
I got something for it.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Shit.
Wrote.
If you're a transgender anyways, why would you want to be in the military? I mean, you're just setting yourself up to be in target land. Why? Why would you do that?
The majority saying the policy, quote, appears to be driven by the bare desire to harm a politically unpopular group, persons who identify as transgender. So obviously a big developing story here on this on Live and Now from Fox that will continue to follow. But obviously whether they take it up in the Supreme Court also in question. So following that developing story here on Live Now from Fox.
All right. Now, of course, we're going to be going into what the thumbnail was for today is regarding the election probe, right? So this is specifically talking about California, and this came out right before we started the live stream, basically. LA officials investigate interference incidents. So they're doing where it says here, let me see if I have it here. No, I don't. They don't have it written down, unfortunately. Anyways, okay, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it.
And thanks for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christy Matino. Let's take you out to California, where Republicans are aiming to break longtime losing streaks by...
Oh, shit, my bad. We got Chrono coming in with the 5 spot, my man, saying they get movies paid by tax dollars. What? Homie said what? Shit, well, I very much appreciate the 5 spot. It goes a long way, my man.
Emotional, damn it.
Perfect. Also, you know what? I would say for California, they need to embrace their fuck ups. Honestly, they need to.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We have embraced. All right.
Taking first steps towards winning elections for governor and Los Angeles mayor as voters in the Democratic-dominated California head to the polls today. We've spent months listening to the candidates make their speeches, but what about you? Mario Ramirez live in Silver Lake with more on what voters are saying. Good morning to you, Mario. What have you heard?
Hi, good morning, Christy. Well, we're already hearing early this morning from people who are getting ready to head to the polls with a lot of issues on their minds, because here in Los Angeles, voters will be deciding on who will run the city. And we're talking about some of the major challenges that plague the city, like public safety and homelessness. And as we talk about that, just take a look. Behind me, you can see right over that homeless encampment.
We can't hear you.
Homeless encampment
Now we
where,
can.
we've heard from residents who say that
It's like he had so much background noise that he got washed out there for a second.
not enough is being done. So as Los Angeles wakes up this morning, voters getting ready to head to the polls in a primary election that could help shape the city's future. And for many voters, the top issues are homelessness, public safety, and affordability. Now, in the mayor's race, incumbent Karen Bass campaigning on her record, pointing to her homelessness initiative, public safety efforts.
And I hope she gets elected out too. God damn it. Get Karen Bass out of there, dude. She is fucking ass.
And fire recovery work. City Council member Nithya Raman pushing for more housing through rental assistance, greater affordability, and a different approach to tackling homelessness. And then you have outsider candidate Spencer Pratt. He's running on public safety, and he's really been pushing wildfire preparedness and the city's lack of handling that situation here back in January of 2025. And while LA voters are weighing in on who should lead City Hall, Californians across the state also helping decide who will move in the race to replace term-limited Governor Gavin Newsom. Take a listen here.
The governor especially.
And why?
Yeah, because we don't see no improvement. You know, a lot of homeless people.
No improvement.
We need help from the government, really.
I haven't seen anything.
Man, that's a terrible ideology to really have, honestly, though. That's a bad idea. It's a failing ideology. Depending on government for anything, dude, you're fucked. You know what I mean? If you ever have to rely on the government, God bless you. I mean, honestly.
Change in 20,000 years. I live here. So, we got to wait till we get the right person, I suppose. But it's not just the person. People think, oh, yeah, the governor or the mayor. No, it's the whole mentality, group effort that this is happening.
And why do you think it's so important for people to get out and vote today?
Well, it is important because that's the only tool we have.
Yeah, voters say they're looking for the candidate they believe can deliver results on the issues they face every day. Californians are also weighing in on the open race for some congressional seats, state legislative races, and several other statewide offices that'll help shape the direction of California for years to come. Now, we can tell you polls open in less than 2 hours at 7 o'clock this morning, and they close at 8 tonight. So we're still hearing from people this morning, but you can tell the sense of frustration that they carry this morning as they're preparing to vote this morning. For now, we're live here in Silver Lake. We'll send it back to you, Christy.
Mari, before I let you go, I also wanted to ask you, we've been following this. The Los Angeles County election officials are investigating 2 separate incidents of possible election interference. Where does that investigation stand as of this morning as voters are heading to the polls?
Yeah, that's something that we were covering yesterday. There was a ballot box in downtown LA where ballots were set on fire.
Holy shit. Do you hear that?
There was a ballot box in downtown LA where ballots were set on fire, and there was a voting center in Long Beach that was vandalized. It appears someone smashed a window and damaged
Why?
a door there. So LA County says it is now working with the LAPD, but as of
Dude, come on, man. What is going on?
this morning, there's been no suspect that's been identified to either of those cases, but we should mention that's also an issue that voters have in mind. Will this election...
Real quick, we got Chrono coming in with the 5 spot, my man. I very much appreciate it. He says, we is here from the governments and here's to help. Helps. The most frightening shit you can hear. Yeah, no kidding, dude. That is when you know that you're going to be fucked for life, really. But thank you for the 5 spot, man, making it rain in the chat this morning. I very much appreciate it. Helping us pay for this brand new setup that we're, and we still got a lot to go. We still got to get a new camera. We got to get 2 different lights for this setup. It's going to be an expensive little route.
Be fair, and will their vote be counted? So many are, really wanting their voices to be heard here.
All right, Mario Ramirez, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be checking in with your team throughout the next 24 hours here. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Christy.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on into Trump reveals new national intelligence director after Gabbard's exit. As you guys know, we reported on that as well when it happened, the day that it happened. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
Of breaking news as President Trump has just
And this is quick.
posted
This is super quick. I think it happened this morning. Yes.
Truth Social, putting that up on your screen here for you now. As President Trump is announcing he has tapped Federal Housing Finance Director Bill Pulte to be acting director of national intelligence to replace Tulsi Gabbard. So President Trump making this surprise announcement today on Truth Social regarding Pulte, the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency.
What's up, chatting with Stacks? My man, good morning. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well.
And chair of mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Here's what the president had to say. I'm appointing the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, William J. Pulte, to serve as acting director of national intelligence. William has deep experience managing the most sensitive matters in America, the safety and soundness of the markets, and over $10 trillion at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, a substantial increase from where it was just 12 months ago. During this period, he will remain director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Congratulations to Director Pulte, President Donald J. Trump. Just shared moments ago here from the president. Now, President Trump saying there, Pulte will keep his other positions even as he fills in for Gabbard, who resigned last month after revealing her husband's cancer diagnosis. If formally nominated, Pulte would need to be confirmed by the Senate to hold this position full time. He has criticized Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell for having not cut the central bank's benchmark interest rates as aggressively as the president wanted. And it's unclear what national security expertise Pulte has, but he has been a frequent guest on Air Force One as President Trump has traveled to Mar-a-Lago, his home and club in Palm Beach, Florida. So this just coming in there from President Trump, sharing it with you here as he has tapped federal housing.
And that's it. That's it. All right. So we'll be watching for that. Okay. So Marco Rubio, as you guys can see in the title of today's show, Rubio Testifies was part of that. And so, yes, that is happening. Marco Rubio faces off lawmakers over Trump's budget request. So he is under, he's doing this whole thing right now. So he's in this hearing. So let's go ahead and, this is live where I clipped it. I mean, it's where I stopped it at. As you guys can see, the live chat's going. I'll exit out of that part.
I'm sorry.
All right. This is right before Rubio's about to speak.
Did you want to, we talked about that.
Do you want one?
We actually talked about that, but he thought the questioning might be easier. Why don't you go ahead?
I have it in writing. You want me to read it?
Give us your best shot.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me here. There'll be a lot to talk about today, and I just want to remind everyone.
And like I've said before, these hearings take fucking forever. A lot of these things go on all day. Okay, so we're only going to really take the very first opening from Marco, and then we've got to move on. We still have two major stories and developments going on with Israel and Hezbollah as of this morning. So we're going to get into that here in a minute, and after this. So,
but our foreign policy is one that's solely focused on the national interest of the United States of America, on the defense of our country, both its military defense and our security, but also our economic security and the vibrancy of our economy, our sovereignty, and our future. We believe that America should lead the world, and I believe that we are, and we'll have a very good story to tell about that. American leadership, however, should always be on behalf of the American interests. I say this because I think over a period of time in our foreign policy, we lost focus on that. The reality of it is that our foreign policy, first and foremost, must always be what is in the national interest of the United States of America. And determining the national interest oftentimes requires us to make pragmatic decisions. Sometimes in foreign policy, the choices are not between a good choice and a bad choice. It's between two less than ideal choices, and you're trying to figure out which one of these two choices is the one that is best for the United States and least harmful to our interests. And that plays out every single day. That said, we remain the world's sole global superpower, the most powerful country on earth. We have the largest economy. We have the most formidable and powerful military ever known to man, by the way. Our dollar remains the reserve currency of the world. Our language is used extensively throughout the world to transact all sorts of business and many of our engagements. But all of this means very little if that power is not used to protect the people who built it, the people who it is meant to protect. I also remind everybody the United States government is not a charity. We are not here to play social worker. We are here to win. We are here to win on behalf of the American people and on behalf of the national interests, to win for our country, to win for the people of America, to win for the things that are important for our future. And that's what we exist to do. The State Department exists to carry out the foreign policy of the United States, both in diplomacy and in aid, in a way that furthers the national interest and helps the American people. And it's guided every decision that's been made since January of 2025. I'll give you a perfect example in our own Western Hemisphere, an area that this committee and many of its members long argued, as I did, has long been neglected and not been paid attention to. We now have in this hemisphere a coalition of friendly countries, over a dozen, who have aligned to work on not just the issues of security that we all have in common, but also economic prosperity that go hand in hand. It's an amazing story that basically, other than Nicaragua, other than Cuba, obviously, other than Venezuela, remains with some challenges, and of course Brazil, although they're in the midst of an election cycle, and to some extent the current government in Colombia as well, at least the president's been problematic. But generally speaking, it is now a region filled with American allies, American-friendly leaders, and an American-friendly direction. Now, obviously, we have to operationalize that into action after 20 years of neglect, in which China and other global powers have intruded in our Western Hemisphere to the detriment not just of American national interest, but to the detriment, in our view, of the people of those countries as well. So these are important achievements, and one that I'm very happy about. I'm also happy about the way we've transformed foreign aid. In any transition, there will be, bumps in the road, but largely speaking, if you think about how those programs that existed in the past were failing us, the old model had to be replaced. And the foreign assistance that remains is being brought under the strategic direction of the State Department. So we're not just providing money, we are also seeking outcomes. It's not just how much money you spend on a program, it's whether you're getting outcomes from it, but it's also being guided through with our strategic view in mind. And that means that we are able to provide aid, not just all over the world, but specifically targeted at those most in needs and those places around the world most important to the national interest of the United States. That will remain our guiding principle. That's been our guiding principle in our reforms. So, I would just, we can get into a lot of these details in our questions. The bottom line is that all this and more is a reflection of this belief that I outlined at the outset, and that is that foreign policy cannot be separated from economic policy, from border policy, from energy policy, from any of these other spheres that are critical to our national interest. A country that cannot build ships or produce medicine or control immigration or access vital resources cannot defend its people, cannot defend its interests, and cannot defend its way of life. So our foreign policy continues to be reoriented around the real foundations of national strength. This budget is yet another step, I believe, in that direction. Obviously, the appropriators here will have a huge say on the outcome of what that budget ultimately looks like, as we don't anticipate that for the first time in modern history, Congress will just take up our budget and pass it. We think it'll go through some substantial reforms along the way, and we look forward to engaging you like we did last year to produce what we think is a very good spending bill at that time. So anyways, I look forward to your questions. I think that's what it says here. I'm not sure if I really look forward to your questions. I look forward to probably half your questions.
That's what it says here. I don't look forward to all your questions. I probably look forward to half your questions. Yeah, that's a W, by the way. I gotta hear that again.
I look forward to your questions. I think that's what it says here. I'm not sure if I really look forward to your questions. I look forward to probably half your questions. Thank you.
That shit is pretty funny.
Thank you, Secretary.
Yeah, that was epic.
Okay, Rubio. We will now do a round of questions, 5-minute questions based on order of.
Man, 5 minutes apiece, man. Just for one congressman or senator to, you know what I mean, just congressman in general, lawmaker that's going to sit there for 5 minutes and ask a question. Yeah.
Attendance. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to say thank you for the work you've done with respect to Iran. We all of us have worked on.
I think it's like the guy gets 5 minutes to ask the question, which a 5-minute long question.
For years, know how frustrating that is, how difficult it is to work with this regime who've sponsored terrorism and kidnapping and killed thousands of Americans for the last 47 years. Thank you for doing something about it. I know you and the president are doing all you can to ensure this comes to a close sooner rather than later. I wonder if you could give us at least a brief update on where we are.
Well, first, let me remind everybody that while I've not been before this committee since, I believe, February, when we briefed on the Venezuela operation, I have appeared on multiple occasions here, both in my role as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State, in both all Senate briefings multiple times, Gang of 8 briefings, Gang of 16 briefings. So we've talked about this topic with some of you in those settings in the past. You've heard from us.
Be safe out there. No, as always, we appreciate you.
Let me just lay the predicate here, okay? Iran's desire to build a nuclear weapon was going to be effectuated behind a conventional shield. They were going to build for themselves so many missiles, so many drones, so many conventional weapons, including a Navy, that at that point, there's nothing you could do about it. What they tried to do is they were going to try to build a conventional shield and hide behind that conventional shield and basically say to the world, if you come and do anything about our nuclear program, we will overwhelm you with missiles, we will overwhelm you with drones, and we will overwhelm you with our Navy, and you will not win. You will not be able to do anything about it. They were seeking that point of immunity, which is why the president chose to act to deny them that point of immunity. Operation Epic Fury, some of you didn't like it, some of you did. was highly successful in achieving its military objectives, which is dramatically reducing the defense industrial base of Iran. The ability to build these missiles and to build these drones, especially the missiles program, substantially degraded. A substantial percentage, and I'll leave the exact numbers to the Department of War because I'm not a general and I'm not here to speak as a military planner, but a substantial degradation in the number of launchers that they have as well. They still have a lot of drones because these are easy to make. We all know it's not an Iran challenge. This is a global challenge. And it's playing out every single day around the world. I mean, Mexican cartels are using UAVs against each other. We should imagine at some point may even use it against our interests. So this is a pervasive problem around the world. The economics of it are something we have to solve for. But nonetheless, even their drone building capability has been eroded. Today, there is no Iranian Navy. There is no such thing. There's a bunch of Boston whalers with machine guns on them, but there is no Navy. There is no Iranian Navy. It lies at the bottom of the ocean and will soon, within a number.
Which is true, by the way, from all the research and reports that I've been able to physically read myself, right?
Of years be prime fishing spots because they'll turn into reefs. So my whole point is that the Iranian conventional.
They still have their mosquito fleet, though, and that mosquito fleet is very useful in multiple situations, whether it's regarding cargo vessels, it could be tankers, or it could be, U.S. military ships of, naval ships.
Field has been substantially eroded. Now, in the aftermath of that, two things have happened. The first is they entered into a ceasefire. We agreed to stop. But part of that agreement was that they would reopen the straits. They did not. At which point the president decided, and I think appropriately, we can't have a world in which only Iranian ships get through the straits. And so if they're going to shut down the straits for everybody, we're going to shut down the straits for them. And we have done that through a very effective blockade. And by the way, through the seizure of sanctioned ships in the Indo-Pacific as well. The cost to Iran every single day in lost revenue is in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they are losing in lost revenue that they're not generating as a result of that. Now, we are in talks. And I say talks because talks with Iran are not like talks with Switzerland. Okay, they're very different. They require the use of intermediaries, unfortunately. But there is the prospect before us, which could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, that for the first time, certainly in my memory, they have agreed to negotiate aspects of their nuclear program that just a month ago, or just a year ago, they were refusing to even mention, much less enter into discussions about. That is not a guarantee that ultimately it will lead to a deal that's acceptable to the Senate or acceptable to the American people. But we'll be able to engage them in a process to truly test the proposition of how far they're willing to go. Complicating that process, unfortunately, is their internal regime is somewhat fractured in the sense of it takes days to get responses from their system. We can go into more depth in your follow-up questions. But we're hopeful that something like that could happen in which the straits would reopen. We would enter into a period of negotiations on very specific topics, delineated negotiations, in the hope of reaching an outcome that's acceptable to us and something that they would be able to do as well. If it doesn't work out, then obviously we still have a problem with respect to their nuclear ambitions. But what they won't have is the conventional shield to hide behind any longer.
Thank you.
Wow, that was pretty much a W. Gotta give it to him. All right, let's get into this morning regarding the ceasefire that happened with Israel and Hezbollah this morning, and then of course there's the report of quote unquote "you're fucking crazy." Trump reportedly fumes at Netanyahu during a call, and that is actually not surprising to me at all. So let's go ahead and bring up this next story. First, actually, you know what we got to do? We got to snack on that big ass sandwich.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
Facts. That is the best propaganda you guys are going to get today. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, though. 3, 2, 1, bam.
President Trump sees a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to peace talks with Iran.
So this coming after the president reportedly had a heated conversation with Israel Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Trey Yinks is live in Tel Aviv with the details for us. Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. President Trump indicated that a broader deal with Iran could be closed as early as this week, telling a reporter yesterday, quote, "I think you're talking about over the next week. I still have to get a few more points." As the president works towards a deal with Iran, he was able to de-escalate the ongoing conflict.
Yo, Bob, that is hilarious. He said, "God damn, that made me make an egg sandwich last week." That's awesome, bro. That's awesome.
Between Israel and Hezbollah, getting on the phone with both sides.
Did you make a sandwich out of it, or did you just make egg salad?
The president said on Truth Social, "I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi. I also had a conversation with Representative representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them. Let's see how long that lasts. Hopefully, it will be for eternity. Axios reports the call between Trump and Netanyahu was tense, saying in a piece posted yesterday, quote, summarizing Trump's remarks to Netanyahu, the U.S. official said, "You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your A. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." A second source briefed on the call said Trump was pissed and at one point yelled at Netanyahu, "What the F are you doing?" At this moment, Israeli troops remain in southern Lebanon, and overnight there were a few
Hold
sirens.
on. That whole quote summarizing Trump's remarks to Netanyahu, the U.S. official said, he's quoting Trump, "You're fucking crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." Damn. Holy shit. So they recognize from the inside that this shit is like a nightmare.
Now, everybody hates Israel because of this. A second source briefed on the call said Trump was pissed and at one point yelled at Netanyahu, "What the F are you doing?" At this moment, Israeli troops remain in southern Lebanon, and overnight there were a few sirens in northern Israel from Hezbollah rocket and drone attacks, as well as a small number of Israeli strikes in Lebanon. The Iranians are watching closely the unfolding exchange of fire and words, with Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson saying this.
An obvious reason for the escalation and the atrocities by the Zionist regime over recent days in Lebanon is to destroy even the slightest possibility for the ongoing diplomatic process to lead to improvements in the situation. And again, the U.S. is responsible for this. We can't consider the U.S. and the Zionist regime as two separate agents.
The Iranians have a lot to say. The reality is their economy is suffering due to the ongoing U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. Guys?
It's kind of ironic. So how do you view it, Trey? It looks like Hezbollah, when the war started, they're the ones who started launching rockets in Israel. And the only reason Israel's in Lebanon is so they could get into the northern part of their country, because that's where Hezbollah was lobbing rockets into their country. If there were no rockets coming from Lebanon, Israel would be perfectly happy to let Lebanon live in peace. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Hezbollah has been launching rockets and drones into Israel since October 8th of 2020.
Which is true. I mean, the exchange there has never really stopped. There was a ceasefire between Israel and the Lebanese government, but that doesn't mean Hezbollah necessarily. And so we reported on all of that, 2 years ago, or a year and a half? Yeah, a year and a half ago, something like that. I don't know.
Hamas's attack into this country. The reality is that both Israel and Lebanon want to get rid of Hezbollah, but there's a pathway to do so, and the Trump administration has been working on a diplomatic solution. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, behind the scenes, has been trying to get both Israel and Lebanon at the table in Washington multiple times to come up with a framework of a normalization between the two countries that has the same goal: to disarm this Iranian proxy that exists in southern Lebanon and in the southern part of the Lebanese capital of Beirut. President Trump wants a broader framework agreed to across the region that would de-escalate the rising tension.
Hey, you be safe out there, Naomi. We always appreciate you and your hard work here. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Continues to take place.
Enjoy your day.
The reality is the Israelis and the Americans have a common goal, but the way to get there is a bit different. And so the days ahead will be quite tense to see what happens in Lebanon. We understand that Hezbollah wants to continue to de-escalate because they understand they're getting boxed out of these possible peace talks and the possibility of a broader deal. But President Trump has been very clear. He'd like to see Lebanon join the Abraham Accords. He sees the region as having an opportunity for peace and prosperity ahead. And given the fact that he hit the Iranian regime so hard during Operation Epic Fury, there's an understanding that the groundwork may have been laid to do just that.
Yeah, Trey, do you think?
All right, so I don't need any more discussion there from Trey Yingst. But what I do want to hear is to go more in depth about that "you're fucking crazy" part. So they actually did do a separate reporting on it. Let's go ahead and bring that up quickly here. 3, 2, 1, bam.
President Trump telling ABC that a deal with Iran could happen over the next week. The president writing on Truth Social, quote, "Talks are continuing at a rapid pace with the Islamic Republic of Iran."
And I did wake up to seeing this post on social media. I woke up to it.
President Trump speaking to ABC about getting Israel and Hezbollah to agree to a ceasefire, saying, quote, "There was a little glitch today, but I turned
no, I saw it right before I went to sleep, I think. I think that's what happened. Yep.
Went around very quickly. I spoke with Hezbollah and I said no shooting, and I talked to Bibi and said no shooting, and they both stopped shooting.
Process, my man. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, my man.
Each other. U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, joins me now. We're going to get to the glitch as President Trump characterized.
Yes, by the way, you guys don't have to like all this craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. For me, you guys don't have to like it for all this crazy shit, but what we do here on Insane Wheels, I appreciate it.
In a second. But I'm trying to view this back and forth, delay, no delay, ceasefire, through the lens of the American person watching right now, drinking their coffee. And it seems like we have a start, we have a stop, we have a start, we have a stop. So what do you want the American public to?
I don't have it on here. I have it on my phone. But yeah, that shit was kind of crazy.
Think when it comes to the constant promise that we're going to have a ceasefire, we're going to end this war, and then just a delay, mostly on the part of Iran.
Well, Todd, it's good to be with you. And what I would say on the Iran-U.S. conflict is,
What's up, TVT? Good morning, my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Topless Taco Tuesday as well. And yes, kicking a few bucks, win OT, baby. That's facts. If you guys didn't know, there's no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. So send in your money. All right, that's good. Good grift break right there.
We will
All right,
defend
back
our
to this.
interests. Obviously, the president is the negotiator in chief. He has negotiated an agreement that is, that he wants, and he's focused on the final details to make sure that among the most important things that Iran doesn't ever have a nuclear weapon. But time and leverage are on the United States side, and I don't think that there should be any hurry right now to get the best deal in the interests of the United States and therefore the American people. And President Trump knows exactly what he wants, and he knows that he has everything on his side to make sure that he gets it. I mean, we have,
By the way, what they showed there on this particular one wasn't just a disabling of a ship. This particular one on May 8th, this is when there was a shot from one of these, from that cargo vessel right there, I should say tanker, actually. It looks like a chemical tanker because it's got the pipeline above like that. Well, actually, both sides have. Anyways, whatever, I digress. They launched something off of that ship and was shooting at a one of our jets, actually. And what that jet simply did was just dodge the attack and came back around, swung around, and dropped a bomb right on top of the stack and just and just blew up the engine back there. So that's what they showed right there. And I just thought that was interesting that they just showed that now. But
that
whatever.
there should be any hurry right now to get the
Virginia Chaos, welcome back. Good morning.
best deal in the interests of the United States and therefore the American people. And President Trump knows exactly what he wants, and he knows that he has everything on his side to make sure that he gets it. I mean, we have a blockade right now in the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran is on their back foot. Their military has been decimated. Their navy's at the bottom of the Gulf, and so there is just so much right now that the United States is holding all the cards, and President Trump is going to make sure that if a deal is done, that it is a sustainable deal in the interest of America.
Sustainable is the key phrase there. You also mentioned the word leverage, and I want to highlight some reporting from Axios about a potentially tense conversation between Trump and Netanyahu. Quote, summarizing Trump's remarks to Netanyahu, the U.S. official said, "You're bleeping crazy. You'd be in prison."
You're bleeping crazy. I'll say it. You're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Yo, you're fucking crazy. That's the way it says on the report. Shit.
And if it weren't for me, I'm saving your bleeping. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this. A second source briefed on the call said Trump was, I'm going to say this, pissed. And at one point yelled at Netanyahu, "What the bleep are you doing?" Less on the back and forth between Netanyahu and Trump, because let's face it, they're one of our greatest allies. That relationship is strong. But how can the Trump administration prevent Iran from using the issue of Lebanon?
Iran. Dude, I love when super conservatives start talking like, well, I shouldn't even say conservatives. They're not conservatives. They're fake conservatives. A lot of Republicans say they're conservative, but they're absolutely not conservative whatsoever. And that's what I'm getting at. But nonetheless, it's usually these Republicans, I should say, that say it that way. I just find it funny. Iran. No, it's Iran, motherfucker.
And Israel's involvement with Lebanon as leverage against us. How does the Trump administration do that?
Well, obviously, we want the entire region of the Middle East, whether it's Lebanon, whether it is Iran, whether it is the government in Iraq or Syria or anywhere in that region. We want peace to break out across the region, and all of it's related because Hezbollah is a proxy group for Iran. Hamas is a proxy group for Iran. the Houthis are a proxy
We all know that.
group for Iran. And so, Iran's hand is in all of these conflicts, and they are related.
Well, that's the way that we've been able to hurt them in the, because how we've been talking about, in the media where people are going, well, in comments, obviously you've seen probably lots of these comments. This war should have been started 47 years ago, blah, blah, blah. It should have been, this should have ended way back then, kind of thing. Well, there's multiple, aspects to this. So leading up into, current times, every president that has sat down and taken office has understood if we do attack Iran, we're going to be having the Strait shut down. And the Strait has always been, since, global shipping, which has been since before our time, obviously, is our global, the way that this works. So Iran has always kind of threatened that they were going to do that. So the way that they would hurt Iran, the United States or anybody else, Israel, obviously, would be by attacking their proxies. But of course, those proxies are attacking them. And so it makes it easy to justify to do. And then you take out those guys because they're a nuisance for Israel, right? So they're dealing with that. But meanwhile, that's crippling Iran in different ways. So that's how people of the past have tried to hurt Iran, is by their proxies, because they knew that the Strait would be shut down otherwise.
But again,
Which
President Trump
we're seeing happen now.
is unafraid to talk to anybody at any time and tell him how it should be and how it must be. And that's the thing, that the United States, because of his leadership and because of the awesome power of our military, we can stand behind those requests, and we aren't afraid, and we're coming from a position of power, and that's where we will always be, and that's where the American people want us. But the situation between Hezbollah and Israel is, again, it's existential for Israel. Ultimately, they have received.
Well, and the truth be told on this, Steve, is from what we're hearing in different reports, not just hearsay, that Netanyahu's tried to basically, ever since he's been involved, he's been trying to get every sitting president to basically go to war with them, against Iran. So that's always been kind of a thing.
Rockets, this, Todd. They have received rockets for years from territory in Lebanon, and they are, I think, once and for all trying to root that out. Now, could they go too far? Is that a concern? Maybe, certainly, if they get all the way to Beirut and start, attacking the capital city of Lebanon. But President Trump understands how it all fits together and is negotiating a comprehensive deal. If the Iranians want to include the Hezbollah issue in that, and it can be negotiated, then I'm sure President Trump will find a way to include that. But again, he holds all the cards, and he's going to decide the deal that is going to be on the table and accepted.
As the U.S. ambassador to NATO, we would be remiss if we did not ask you about this quickly. President Trump reportedly telling Turkey and its president Erdogan that he plans to visit their country for a NATO summit in July. This is a big NATO summit. What would President Trump's presence in Turkey at this summit, Mr. Ambassador, mean for the future of the alliance?
Well, obviously, President Trump is the key to the alliance and the summit. Last year in The Hague, he was there. We got the 5% commitment, which is historic and wouldn't have happened without President Trump's leadership. Now we have the report card. Now we find out what have our allies been doing over the last year and what are their plans in the future. And that includes things not only ramping up spending, but most importantly, acquiring capabilities, tanks, airplanes, air defense systems, counter UAS, all of the armaments and weapons that we need to deter and defend every inch of the alliance. And we also need to continue this project that we have started, which is handing over the conventional defense of the European continent to the Europeans. We're making progress. Is it fast enough? Probably not, but we're going to keep pushing as hard as we can. And President Trump being there in Ankara is very important.
U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, as always, a pleasure, sir. Great to see you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all.
All right. So I am setting up the raid currently right now. So listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for the amount of love, support that you guys show, the engagement, hitting that like button, double tapping that screen, as well as, hitting that subscribe button as well, man. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And of course, we got Saturday morning for members only, man. So setting up the redirect right now. We're going to be sending you guys over to Chatting with Stacks. He's live right now. So make sure you guys let him know that we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Listen, I can't thank you guys enough. Much love, honor, respect to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your Topless Taco Tuesday. I definitely know the hell that we are. And until tomorrow morning, God bless everyone. Much love and be safe. God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. insane